Hey,
Hi,
it's Tash and Carly,
and you're listening to Motherhood,
not as we planned.
So get comfy, grab a cup of tea,
Or a glass of wine, and let's start talking about all the things too many of us avoid discussing.
welcome back to another new episode of Motherhood, Not As We Planned. This week, we're talking all things
A bit more like dating, like we've spoken about it before, but we thought we'd talk about just generally.
There's quite a lot to cover.
Yeah,
Like
dating in your 30s.
so different, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't know, but yeah, never dated. But yeah, I feel like when we've asked you guys what you want us to talk about, there was a lot of
Loads of questions surrounding dating.
And it may be people that, you know, have never been married, never have kids, that actually just want to hear like funny dating stories or just advice or anything. So here's a question for you. What would you say is your like ideal first date?
Interesting.
Yeah. So I feel like some people like dinner or drinks or like day drinks, night drinks, or maybe something like an activity. Like having been on a few now, first date, I do like dinner, but there is something quite nice about doing an activity where it's a bit more chilled and relaxed. So I think that if you're trying to think of a good first date and your nerves are quite high, I think doing something like crazy golf.
Just like experience.
Well, yes. I think crazy golf is a good one because I don't know. I feel like you get to be a bit more yourself rather than like sitting at the table, like
You don't have much to think about. Talk about,
yeah. What do you think?
I mean, if we're talking about ideal first dates, I'd love to be flown in a helicopter somewhere.
Right, let me change the question. Really realistic first date.
So, I don't really know. I think I like both. I do like going out for dinner, and I think where I haven't been taken out for dinner in so long, that's quite nice.
Nice thing to do.
And it's nice to get like dressed up and go somewhere. Like, I'm a foodie, like go somewhere with nice food and do over that. Then at the same time, I feel like eating in front of people can be like quite an anxious thing.
Yeah.
So I do agree. I think doing like a date is really fun. Like
Even like there's like adult arcades, you know, or like the fun fair thing.
Oh, what's
you
it
went
called?
to.
That's really going to annoy me.
It is called Fair.
Fair Game.
Yeah.
Fair Game, Canary Wharf. You get a spot there. It's really good. I went with my sisters. Really, really fun.
So I feel like doing something like that, I feel like it takes that pressure off of. So if anyone's listening to this and they're scared to go on a first day, I think the activity day are the easiest. Are the easiest thing.
That's really awkward. I feel like as well, sometimes when you're talking to someone, they want to take you on a date. They might be like, oh, do you have any ideas? Thing is, I'm that person who I'm really indecisive anyway. And I also feel like I quite like the assertiveness of someone. I want them to be in charge and like book it. See what kind of person they are. Are they?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I think you could tell a lot by someone, but then at the same time, if like your worst nightmare is dinner with someone, speak up and be like, right, you've got to try and find a really fun activity for us to do.
Yeah.
There's loads out there. Things like,
do you want to laugh? I've got the funniest story for you. So when I was going on this date with someone and we were trying to think of something to do, we wanted to do something fun. So he literally Googled fun things to do and he put my area. And one of the first things that came up was... It was. It was like swinging. Oh my. And he sent it to me, obviously in a jokey, like banterish way. And I was like, okay, maybe don't Google fun things to do in this area. And there's like this like swingers house really near where I live.
in like a notorious swingers area.
Apparently so. But no, you just reminded me because you were like, think of fun things to do. So, I mean, look, that could be someone's ideal first date.
No judgment here. Judgment free, guys.
But yeah, no, I think that is a good first date. And then we've had some questions, people saying things to us like, what would you wear? Obviously, it depends where you're going.
I think so the first date I went on, that was it. So my first date was like afternoon to evening. So I was like, what? Like, what should we wear? And we were going to go to quite a nice restaurant in the evening. So I was like, I don't want to walk in heels all day.
Yeah.
I feel like things have changed a little bit now. So I went for, what did I wear? I wore like wide-legged jeans with my dunks
Yeah.
and then a nice top and a blazer.
Chilled vibes at the bottom.
Yeah, and tidy at the top.
Yeah.
Chilled at the bottom.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, yeah, I went to Crazy Golf, so I think I wore like black leather leggings to make it a bit smarter, but with trainers and then a nice top.
Yeah, I think as well, don't estimate the power of a blazer. I feel like blazers just dress everything up.
Suit me.
What?
Yeah, really nice, man.
Don't believe you.
They just really don't suit me. I feel like I just look like I'm like wearing like my dad's.
Okay, well, I think blazers are really cool with like jeans and
I love
trousers.
blazers. I wish I could pull one off.
No, we're going to find one.
Okay, that's the goal. Find me a blazer.
But yeah, I think...
And I always dress down rather than up if you're unsure. If you're unsure and you don't want to look like a keen bean.
So one of my best friends, I kind of go to her for everything dating because I've been out the loop for so long. I was like, what do I wear? She's like, always wear black on a first date. But I kind of went against it. I don't know. I was like, I actually wasn't dying. I wasn't. I was in like, I was in light blue jeans and like a really nice kind of like khaki green tops.
It's summer as well, though.
It's summer. If it's in winter, absolutely. Black boots, but I don't think you can go wrong with that. But I would say dress like in something that makes you feel comfortable, in something that makes you feel like flattered. So like, for example, if you've got an area, for example, your stomach that you're really conscious about, wear something high-waisted, wear something that covers it up. Like, make sure you're going out feeling amazing. Like, you want to walk out the door and be like, I'm feeling good, because that confidence radiates onto like your day, and you want to be like, this girl like is owning it, kind of.
Yeah, Also, talking of first dates, because I feel like we've touched on this, not on this, but behind the scenes, in regards to like that research that girls maybe do. And I reckon boys do it too. Okay, think about it. You've matched on an app. You want to get their surname at least. You can try and do a little like Facebook stalk, maybe find out any mutuals. Like, how far have you gone with the stalking prior to a date?
It's really sad, and I'm really like regretful. So I've obviously only really been on one first date since 10 years ago, and why didn't I do this? No, do you know? Like, the only weird thing I did was I was more concerned how many limbs he had or whether he was going to kill me. I don't.
So you did? Yeah, you said you did.
I started googling him. Why did I not Google him?
Maybe I'm just a psycho.
I think I might have tried to find him on Instagram and I couldn't, because I feel like his name was quite like common.
Right.
I'm not saying he's like common as muck.
No, but when you've got a name that's not different, it's hard to find. Yeah. The worst is when you find them, but they're private. Are you private?
Give me nothing. You're giving me nothing.
Because you can tell a lot from someone's Instagram page, like what their friends look like, what they do, or unless they're like not big on social media. So I feel like if you want to like stalk that person that you're going out with, try and get their surname, because I feel like Facebook, although I don't really actively use it, that's like the stalking page. Yeah. Well, first of all, the minute you find them on Facebook, you can see what mutuals you have. That's a conversation breaker in the first place. Can you imagine if you've got a random mutual and then you're like, oh my God, like, how do
you know them? Yeah.
Yeah. So
if it's a bad person, then it's good.
Maybe they shouldn't go on a date.
Go on Facebook.
So that's the first thing I did. When I was going on a date with this guy, I knew his surname, and we actually discussed like, oh, I wonder if we've got any mutuals. So we both knew that we were going on each other's date.
You both did the same thing with each other.
And then we saw that we had a mutual, and we were like, how random, like how do it? And it turned out that like someone that I've grown up with is his first cousin.
That's weird.
But again, it was like that, like, okay, like we don't know anyone the same except that one person. So like, you're normal. Like I know.
You validate they're not like a psycho.
And I also think that that's quite nice when you meet someone on an app and find some mutuals. It makes you feel a bit more safe.
I understand that. 'Cause again, I know I laugh and joke about it that like I was going to go on a date and get killed, but like
you could.
It's like, in all seriousness, you don't know who you're talking to on these apps. And I think like that's why one of the things I said about doing the FaceTime and stuff, or one of my friends has started dating for the first time in 3 years, and she's been having like phone calls and stuff, and it's almost validating like they are a normal person, and like, because you don't know. I would in a sense prefer to know someone or go on a date with someone who's someone new, again, for that someone can almost like vouch for the fact they're normal, they're not going to kill you, they're not like, I don't know, emotionally unstable or whatever. But it's not, especially with these apps, it's not always the way.
Yeah.
I definitely I definitely need to stalk what I am. I feel like in my old days of dating, I was great at that. Like, I feel like I just...
But maybe from like FaceTiming him and stuff, you didn't feel a need.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit weird. Like I feel like anyone listening to this, I want to hear like what your extensive searching was, because
what was the most amazing details you found out about this person prior to meeting them? Tash, what was yours?
I'm not gonna lie, I did well. Do you know what? Actually, I can't take complete credit. My sister did most of the stalking.
Yeah, the family involved.
So I actually managed to find... Does he know that? He's going to... Yeah, he does actually know. And actually, do you know what's really funny is this is how similar we are. I think he did similar. But I managed to find where he lived. And I found his house on Zoopla. So, yeah, another thing... When it comes to dating, would you kiss on the first date?
So I've always had rules about this. And I'm like, in my head, it was like, you never kiss on a first date. And then I was thinking, like, who the hell makes these rules?
Yeah, make your own.
Make your own rules. So I remember, so obviously, I've only been on one first date recently. And we've been talking a lot before we went on this date. So we were very physically attracted to each other. And I remember being like, I can't kiss you, but like, can't kiss on a first date. And then he was like, but why? And I was like, because the rule, you don't kiss on a first date. And he was like, but who makes the rules? And I was like, it's so true. And I think as well, like, we'd kind of both been in very similar situations recently. And we were like, should we just make our own rules? And I did kiss on the first date. And do you know what? It felt right. Why does that dictate anything? I don't think it makes you come across as easy. I think if chemistry is there and you want to, and you know, it's not forced, it's like natural. It's not like, oh, shall we kiss? It's just like happens. Absolutely. Like I'm gonna be honest. When I had my first kiss on that date, we were sat outside the Ivy, and no one else was out there. The waiter had seen us sitting. He was like, I don't know where everyone's gone. He bought us over a bottle of champagne. So we were just sat there. It was so romantic and it just felt right. And it was honestly, bear in mind, it's my first kiss in 10 years. It was freaking amazing. And so, yeah, I don't believe in rules. I believe in write your own. What about you?
I believe you should kiss on the first date.
Yes.
I feel like you need to know if there's like, I'm not going to waste my time with a second date. If like, at the end of the day, whether you're going on a date just for a bit of company or you're going on a date because you want to meet your next person, I feel like surely you're both going on a date because you're hoping there's some sort of attraction. So I feel like you're not trying to meet a friend, so just kiss, and if the spark is there, great, and if it's not,
I agree. But I do feel like sometimes you don't even need to kiss to know a spark's there.
100%.
The spark makes you want to kiss them.
Yeah. So I feel like it's almost like vital. I think you should be in that headspace more so that you should kiss on the first date than you shouldn't, because I think it just makes...
As well, when you think about like the whole concept of don't kiss on a first date, literally, like, where does that actually come from?
I feel like that's more probably like when we were younger.
It's probably like the way I think women
were like, don't have sex on the first date.
Yeah.
I believe in that personally.
Yeah.
I think even if there's loads of attraction there, I sort of had this like unwritten rule in my head, like third date minimum.
Why?
I don't know, because I just think like sometimes it's nice to have something to look forward to. You're not coming across too keen or like slutty, but at the same time, like if you've seen each other already on 2 occasions and you're going on that third day, and like, look, let's all, like, we're adults, like you don't need to like wait 2 months. Look, then again, I also don't want to like, some people don't have sex before marriage. Like, I'm not here like hating on anyone else's opinions. Just for me, I feel like it's like that third date rule. I just tried not to do it before the third date.
I'm not stay with him and
drawing a laugh. So I'm like, as I'm talking, I'm like, don't overshare. But the person that I met, who I've been talking about in this episode, is actually who my boyfriend is now, which I haven't actually like spoken about on here yet. Yeah, I have a boyfriend. And even before we met, like I just knew that I really want to have sex with this person. And I remember speaking to my therapist, and she was like, "You are not allowed to have sex with him for a month." And in my head, I was like, "All right, bring it on. Like, give me a challenge. I'll do it." I kid you not. Like the first day, like I was literally like in my head, I was like, "How the hell am I going to wait for a month?" But I didn't succeed. I kind of failure. I'm happy to hold my hands up and say that sometimes I'm unable to listen to my therapist. But I did the third date rule. Granted, the third date was after a week. Wait, come see me again. We're taking over with 10 minutes. We're taking our second day. Freaking that third date. I really, really wanted to wait a month, and we were that open with each other that he knew that was like my rule. But like, it's also quite nice that like we weren't able to wait. Well, there was that like the chemistry. So I feel like being on the same page is obviously a good starting point, and maybe just try not to do it on the first date. But then again, I'm sure that we're going to have stories that people are emailing us in saying like, we had sex on the first date and we're happily married with 3 kids. Like, I think maybe it probably just comes down to like, if that person is the right person, it probably doesn't mean to her. But I feel like on the first day, don't sleep on the first day.
I don't agree with sleeping together on the first day. I do think, I don't know, as you grow up, and particularly in our situations where you've been married before, I feel like all things like what people have said to you before, like don't do this, kind of go out the window, and you're like, do you know what? I've practiced all this stuff before. It all went to shit.
Yeah.
And I'll go, just go with the flow. I think as well, like sometimes you just have to stop overthinking things, like,
which I know we're both guilty of.
So guilty of. And like that was it. On this date, I was so stressed out that I can't kiss on a first date. That was the narrative in my head. And I was so obsessed with it. But it felt, like literally that's all we both wanted it so badly. We just wanted to kiss each other.
No, like, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I? Like, both fancied the pants of each other. Yeah. So I was like, right, screw this. Like, so yeah, that's that. I think honestly, you do you. Like, and do you know what? Like, enjoy it.
When it comes to dating, are you aware of the 3-month rule? I'll take it by your face. No.
What's the 3-month rule?
So someone is very able to put on a facade for about 3 months. So if you've been with someone for less than 3 months, wait until you're at that point to really see their true behaviour come out. I'm not saying that they're necessarily faking it, but, you know,
showing the best parts of them.
Yeah, it's very easy to kind of like hold back an argument or make sure that they're being extra romantic. But I feel like there's only such a long period of time that a guy is able to keep up that image or that behaviour. So people do say,
I've never heard this.
Well, so with my therapist, who, by the way, we're going to have coming on here because she is a queen and I can't wait for that episode. We need to organise that. But she's like a dating coach, and what she tells me is amazing. So 1 to 3 months in a relationship, you are qualifying for the same values. So I think that is like key when you are dating someone. You've got to have the same values. So, you know, whether that is similar family values, how you perceive like family life or like money or just
ambition.
Generally, as a person, do you have the same values? So that's 1 to 3 months. 3 to 6 months is behaviour. So that's what I mean by like hitting that 3-month mark. You will see behaviours from the 3 to 6 month mark that you probably will never see in the 1 to 3. Because that's where... Well, that's where you become more relaxed, and you may see like certain habits that, you know, they make sure that they don't, even yourself, like think what you may be like with someone in the first 1 to 3 months. If they've cancelled you or they've done something, you're not going to be like, why have you done that? You might be like, oh, don't worry, babe, like, we can do it. Like you're not necessarily faking it, but you're trying to put on,
you're making more of an effort with how you are. Yeah.
Eventually, like, cracks will show, not necessarily red flags, just like no one's perfect. So it's qualifying in that 3 to 6 months, the behaviour in that person, if you're happy with that. And then the last 6 to 12 months is qualifying commitment. Are you on the same page? Do you want the same things? Once you really know each other a bit more in depth, you can then kind of like ascertain if you want the same thing and if you've got the same type of commitment values.
Yeah, like idea of where you want.
So I feel like it's like that first 3 months is not, I'm not saying it's the nicest, and once you hit that 3 month mark, it's going downhill, but I feel like you get a bit more real.
Yeah, it becomes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's more like normal that you're with.
You're going to see their bad sides. You're going to see their good side. You're going to just see a bit more of an all-round person. So that's why, for me, I've always had in my head that until I hit that 12-month mark, I would personally never live with the person.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to having children, I know that when you get older, I feel like things obviously do progress much quicker. You know, I've got friends that met their person and within 6 months they're living together, and then within a year they're engaged, and then they're married, and then they're having kids, and like, that's amazing. But I think that when I've got children and they're going to end up being like involved emotionally with that person, I wouldn't want them being in my home until I've reached that kind of like qualified stage from that 1 month to 12 months.
Yeah, see, the thought of ever, obviously the time will come where I may want to introduce someone to my children, but I would never want to introduce, and that people are different, you know. Look, I'm not judging anyone, and you do what you think's right for you and your family. I know people who introduce people after a short period of time and they just accept, maybe, you know, it's a relationship, it might end. For me, I don't want to introduce anyone to my children unless I'm 100% sure that person is going to be a constant in my life and their life. I don't want them to form an attachment with someone, which they like do. And knowing the kind of children mine are, they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to fully have that trust in someone and believe them. And like, a trust for me is something that is going to be incredibly difficult to gain and to be able to do. And until I can trust someone 100%, trust they're not going to just click their fingers and walk away and leave us, like, I wouldn't introduce anyone to my children.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I feel like people have asked me before, like, at what point would you? So you have like, yeah, so I had this rule, like the rules, where do they come from? I had a 6 month rule. No one is meeting my children until 6 months. And it's interesting because the person that I've mentioned before, who I was with like last year, and it was quite short term, I met his daughter. He never met my children because, like you, until you see like a solid future with them and you see them being like long term, my children won't meet them. So he wasn't introduced to my kids. However, I think I had this 6 month rule in my head, but it's like when we spoke about when you're ready to date, it's the same thing. It shouldn't really be
a number.
I agree. It's when you feel.
I agree. I don't think you like a number on it.
So I said 6 months, and he met them after 3, because how we felt for each other and where we saw our relationship going, it just felt right. The one thing I won't change is that year mark of living with someone, because I do think that needs to be time personally. But yeah, the kids were introduced a lot earlier than I ever thought.
That's a big change for children as well, to have someone living with them.
But some people might think like, wow, like 3 months is just far too soon. And in my head, I was like, oh, is it too soon? But it just felt right at the time.
Like you knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, if you can genuinely see and like they have the confidence, I think that's amazing. Like, you've got the confidence in that. I feel like, that whole concept terrifies me, because I feel like my kids are my world, and everything I do, I just want to wrap them in a cotton ball and not let anyone else into our little life. It's just us.
Yeah.
But it, you know, one day I would like to get to the point where I do introduce someone to my kids. And, I think I think it's something, in my opinion, that should be done really carefully. I don't want them to ever be introduced to anyone and them not be a stable figure. And that's like the other way around. Like, obviously, I can't dictate whether my kids were to meet someone my ex is with, but I would hope that he would have the same respect. Like, for me, I wouldn't introduce my kids to anyone without having a discussion first with their dad. I know not everyone does that. That's just my opinion. I feel like it's a really big deal. They are his kids as well, and I would want, you know, my ex to know, like, I'm serious about this. There's a reason I'm doing it. And you know, I don't know whether it will be the same the other way around or what, but I would hope that he would have the same respect, because look, you can't choose who your ex ends up with at the end of the day. And my biggest fear is him being with someone who I don't want him to be with, but ultimately only because
of your kid,
of my kids and the kind of people I want my kids around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an area that I'm yet to obviously.
Yeah, so I did that. I also offered for him to meet him.
Did you?
Before the kids did. And he said that he definitely would want to meet him, but he didn't feel that he needed to before the kids.
Okay.
But we had the discussion because that's what I would like him to do for me.
You have to model that behaviour.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, so I've done what I hope to get back. And they've now met, as in like my ex and my boyfriend.
It was okay?
It's honest, it's fine. Like, we're really amicable now, so there's no reason for it to
not be fine.
Yeah, and also like the kids are always there, which I think is like a good icebreaker. And you know, when you sort of like
carry yourself
through the kids,
yeah,
rather than like having chats with each other. And it's only on like exchanges of the kids anyway. But it was like that, like really daunting. Like, oh my god, like kill me! Like I'm about to like introduce like my black friend, my ex-husband. Like it was a bit awkward, but then I thought, do you know what? Like it just needs to be done. Once it's done, it's always worse in your head.
Yeah. So we asked you guys. We wanted to hear about your dating stories, the good and the bad, because that is dating, isn't it? Sometimes you're going to have amazing dates, and sometimes they are going to be awful. And I think, yeah, it's just really good to hear. So we have got some. I'm going to share some with you. Some of them are hilarious.
Are they?
Yeah, this first one. Okay, so I met a guy I used to go to school with. He was the hottest guy at school. Turned out he did not look the same. He stank of smoke and was missing a tooth.
Fuck off!
Made my friend call me and give me a reason to leave. That's one of my fears, is like being toothless. I don't know why. Sorry to anyone if that offends anyone, but
that is hilarious.
Imagine I being the hottest
and being like buzzing that you were going to see him, and then he's like not aged.
Okay, so these are in no particular order. They might go from good dates to bad dates. I think a lot of them are actually bad. I once had a first date where he talked about his mum the whole night and she wrote whole in capital letters and then followed by a red flag.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I only read it in her. And it's just weird.
Okay, bear in mind, this is a date. A guy brought 2 huge monkeys that he had knitted to a festival. I wish I was joking.
What? I was like, it's a soft toy. He knitted these monkeys. You're coming with me. You're coming with me.
I don't know what to say.
I'm really confused. I don't understand.
Firstly, I'd love to know where you find someone like this. I can't imagine a guy sitting at home knitting, firstly. But the fact he thought it was a good idea to bring 2 knitted monkeys.
That is so weird. I think he did a puppet show on the day.
Met a Tinder date, took me to a wine and cheese tasting night.
That's quite cool.
With his family. With his family.
Sorry, what?
Met a Tinder date, took me for wine and cheese tasting night. Lovely. With his family.
That is so weird. Why are these so nice? It's a good idea. What would you do?
I'd run away. I would probably go to the toilet and run. That on a first date, actually I wouldn't. I'm such a liar. I'm full of shit. I would just be really nice and smile and just eat wine, probably get really drunk.
Yeah, that is so weird.
Stuff like that scares me. Don't ever do that, guys. It's not a good idea. I'm sorry. These are all really bad ones. I feel like I might have to try and find some good ones. Asked me what type of contraception I was on the first date because he would definitely get me pregnant. I just felt it. Oh my God, these people. See, I feel really bad because I feel like reading some of these might put people off dating.
Can I say one thing though to try and turn that into a positive?
At least they're being...
At least, like, I find it more annoying if a man, like, just thinks that he can just have sex, not use a condom and just assume that you are on contraception. So good for you, mate. Being reliable and checking because you know that you've got very fertile sperm.
Very, very fertile sperm. Green flag, is it? You feel really passionate about them. I'm a bit indifferent.
I just think like no men ever think about contraception. Good for you.
Well done. Dave from Edinburgh. No, I'm joking. That's not his name. Okay, went on a first date and when I got there, he was eating pancakes and...
I don't know where they find these people. Read it. I need to know. I need to join in. For fuck's sake. Where is it? We're on a first date.
Went on a first date and when I got there, he was eating pancakes and syrup with his hands.
Syrup, my son.
See, imagine the syrup. Oh, and right down, he's got all these sticky fingers.
Sorry, why is that so funny? Oh, I'm so
Just got this vision of like walking into this restaurant and this guy sat there shoveling it in with his hands with like the syrup in between his fingers and it's just
also, why is he eating before she's arrived?
It's really fucking weird. Right, do you open the line again? Sorry, these are brilliant.
Oh gosh.
Oh, they're making me die. I can't breathe.
I feel like I'd want to go on dates just for these experiences.
Me too. This is brilliant life. Guys, that's why if you're going on these experiences, write them down and make a book because this like makes me feel whole. Cried when I said I didn't want to go on another date.
What, to him?
No, the guy cried when she said she didn't know.
Oh, shame.
Oh, little darling. Yes. Yes, yeah, it's probably a lucky escape. Okay. Went for a Sunday lunch. I love my food and cleared my plate before he was even halfway through his. 4 years later, and we're in love.
Oh, that's cute. Sounds like something I'd do.
It's very cute.
Would you hold back on what you eat? Like, are you the salad order instead of like the pasta?
No, I'm not a salad. I eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't fake order. I can't. I think it's a waste of food.
Yeah.
As well, like I think when you go out dating, I love going out for food. Like I'm a foodie. I want to eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, like, get me the dessert.
Oh yeah. I'm always suggesting.
Actually, do you know what? Maybe I wouldn't a dessert unless he said he was getting a dessert, but I wouldn't hold back on that. I would never order a salad. Like, I'd have like pasta, burger, or whatever.
My first date in a restaurant, shall we call it, with my partner was embarrassing, but I suppose it set the scene for the rest of our relationship. It was a Friday night and the place was packed, as you can imagine. We'd had a great dinner and ordered dessert. God knows why, but he decided it would be a funny idea to try and feed me the ice cream. Well, that's what I thought he was doing. He actually continued to spat the ice cream on my nose in front of everyone in the restaurant. He thought it was absolutely hilarious, and you can imagine the looks we were getting. It didn't put me off too much. I laughed along, and here we are 14 years later and 2 kids.
Oh, I love that. But don't ever put ice cream on my face. Okay, so we also thought that we would get some people to write in any advice that they've got for people going on dates.
I need all the advice. I need advice.
So someone's put here, watch out for the red flags and observe how the person speaks to you and others. I think that's really important. Mm. I think it would be so off-putting if you're like at a restaurant and someone's rude to a waiter.
Massive. Yes, I agree. or just even the way they speak to the waiter, I think says a lot about someone, like how they address people. And
but I feel like, especially having been through, I'm sure I can speak for both of us, what we've been through, I'm so aware now of not ignoring red flags. I just wouldn't do it. Like, you're not going to benefit in any way other than hurt yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that is a very good one. Just go in with an open mind, and what will be will be. It's probably going to be the first of many, and that's okay. I like that.
I also think, like, in relating to that, it's like not overthinking it, not like overthinking, am I completely ready? Like, what if this goes, what if it's awful? What if it's really good? Like, just, well, this is what happened when I was deciding whether I was ready to go on my first date. I was talking to one of my best friends, and she was like, you're trying to self-sabotage already before you've even gone. Just like,
just go.
Don't go in thinking what if. Just go in, and if you're enjoying the date, enjoy the date. Like, take it for what it is. So
yeah, I agree.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, and I also just feel like they don't have to tick every single box. Sometimes it's more the experience that is good than anything. Like, sometimes going on a date with someone that isn't right for you makes you learn what is right.
Yeah,
and what you are looking for.
I completely agree with that. I think every experience is a lesson as to, you know, what. So why didn't you like that date? What wasn't about that person you didn't like
next time? Or what should you do next time? It's very much like when we spoke about in the last dating episode. I knew never to make the date aware that I didn't have my kids, so I can use them as a cop out if I'm not enjoying it.
Didn't mean those lessons, but okay.
It's stuff like that. Someone's put here, how did you find the confidence to get back out there after so long? I think that just takes time.
I didn't have the confidence, and for me, the dating was to find the confidence.
Yeah,
it was to, I don't know. Well, initially it was a joke to go on the date. Not a joke, but it's one of the things your friends do.
Yeah,
see what's out there. But you know, when you've been through the things we've been through, your confidence gets knocked massively, and you do feel very unattractive and unwanted and undesirable.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to lie, like, it was nice to be in a position where people would be swiping for me because they were physically attracted to me and maybe wanted to get to know me. So I think as well, like, in that, putting yourself out there, just go on an app. Even if I for a very long time didn't go on dates. I was just on the apps. I was that annoying pen pal person. Although I wasn't really very good at talking. I don't really know I was on the apps. I was just literally on the app.
It's the adoption point though, isn't it?
You don't need to go on dates at the start of being open to it. Like, go on the app, see what's out there. You don't have to go. I didn't go until I felt like I'd met someone I wanted to go on a date with.
Like you said, I think it is also building up that confidence through dating. I think if you've had a really, really long episode of not doing it, like for those that have been on dating apps and they are single and then they come off it for a bit, they're like, this isn't for me. Like, sometimes it is just pushing yourself to get back out there, because the longer you go not doing it, sometimes it becomes more scary to think of doing it now.
As well, like, from my experience from putting myself out there, like, you actually realise there's some really good people out there as well. And like, there's people who will literally tell you, like, you are beautiful and you're incredible. And I think when you've been in a relationship for so long where you perhaps didn't hear that, you just don't believe that anyone will ever find you any of those things again. Yeah. It's just, you just have to, sometimes you have to do things that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's good to be pushed out of your comfort zone. Sometimes they aren't for you romantically, but can become a friend. I've had this and we're still friends. Again, I like that's that. Really nice. Yeah. If they aren't for you, don't ghost them. We wouldn't want it done to us, so explain and be nice.
Yeah, I think
there is a sense of it's not much nicer, I think, to be honest, and just be like, I've had a really good time, but there's no spark for me.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's kind of how I would be. Someone's put here, it's a lot of fun, can make you feel really great. You've actually inspired me to start dating. I'm now on date 7 with an amazing girl.
I love this.
Yes, that's really nice.
Let us know where it goes.
Yeah. We thought we'd quickly just go through one email. We're getting so many, we want to keep on top of them. Hi ladies, thank you so much for all you do. My children's dad and I officially broke up around 2 years ago now, and it's still so hard in some ways. Neither of us are with anyone new, and we still have moments where things have happened between us, which I really don't want. I just think I'm trying to hold on to what I've known for the past 16 years. He was a narcissist in his behaviour and was emotionally abusive to me, but I still have feelings of sadness that my kids now don't have that complete home. I have 3 children who also have additional needs, and it's so tough on my own, and I often feel like I'm drowning. I'm trying so hard to be strong for them. We don't have a proper setup for him seeing the kids. He mostly just comes over on Saturdays, occasionally taking them out, and then sometimes visits in the week. I don't really have time for myself where I can possibly start going out, meeting friends, or just relaxing in peace. I hate that I still go along with things occasionally between us. I don't really want to. I just find it really hard to let go, like he's an addiction for me. I just want to feel free and be a good mum.
I think one thing that stood out for me here is she said that he was a narcissist. And with narcissists, the thing that they thrive on is the control. And it sounds like that even though you're not together, he's still got control of the whole situation. And it's so much easier said than done, but you need to break that control. You need to, not be going back to him. You need to set a routine. These are the days you come. Yeah, these are the days you're here. You need to have that routine. You need to know you've got these days to yourself where you can have that time. You need to take that control, because at the moment,
if he's just popping in and out, and sometimes he's here and sometimes he's there, it's not only about being on his terms. She doesn't have that. She hasn't had that time to do a bit of her, do things for herself. So like he is still
in control
there. And maybe if you found that kind of freedom of finding time to put yourself first, you then realise that you can find happiness doing things on your own, then kind of relying on him a lot.
Yeah, you need to stand up for yourself and say, this isn't working for me. We need a routine. The kids need a routine.
It's the routine that you really need to get out of
change a lot of things.
Yeah.
And as well, I know it's probably hard. Obviously, you say you have some feelings towards him still. I think maybe doing one of the things Tash has mentioned on previous episodes, like writing down things that aren't very good about him and things that are amazing about you, and realising that you do deserve more, especially if he's a narcissist. It's horrific, and I know it's really hard to break free of someone with behaviours like that, but ultimately you're giving him that control by doing it.
Yeah, it's sad. So yeah, no, I hope that helps. It is getting that routine in place. I think that makes such a difference.
Yeah, we've finally got a routine in place, and it's made it work.
Yes, and you can also forward plan and do things for you.
Plan ahead.
Yeah. Should I do one more email? This is called The Other Woman.
Cool.
Hi girls, I got recommended your podcast by a friend. Listening to you share your stories has validated my feelings, so thank you so much for sharing this. I could literally write a book. My husband and I were together for 14 years since we were 16, and to be quite honest, we had a good, stable relationship. But I have suffered 4 miscarriages in the pandemic, which broke me, and I was a shadow of the woman that he fell in love with. I got pregnant for the 5th time, and he suddenly left me 9 weeks pregnant and blamed me for it. His whole attitude changed within 24 hours, and he started acting like he didn't know me, despite being his pregnant wife. Never spoke to him for 4 months of the pregnancy. He moved out literally 2 days after leaving me, and I couldn't deal with how he could do this, so I stopped all contact, as my midwife and I couldn't afford to be on the emotional roller coaster while I was pregnant. I got COVID 8 months pregnant, told him via text, and never even asked how I was. I went into early labour because I had COVID and still had him at birth. Was home alone in labour and texting to let him know that I got to hospital and gave birth within 30 minutes of being there. Then we were locked in a room for 3 days as I had to be isolated, and he was acting all shady and couldn't look at me, hid his phone, so I had my suspicions. I've since found out that he was actually with another woman the whole pregnancy, and he's now with her. Being pregnant on your own is the loneliest place in the world. Navigating motherhood while going through a breakup in a pandemic was tough, and now I have the prospect of this other woman coming into my baby's life. How on earth am I meant to accept this? It would be great to hear some stories about how to navigate the other woman. I've never really spoken to the other woman, as they're pretending that they've only just started to see each other despite him leaving me 2 years ago, and for no good reason. I'm still in a lot of pain, albeit I'm thriving in my life, so not sure I'll ever get over this trauma. Struggled to bond with my babies. He took her away as a newborn for hours on end, so with no contact, and he didn't look me in the eye for 6 months. struggled to bond with my baby as he took her away as a newborn for hours on end with no contact and didn't look at me in the eye for 6 months. All the while I was begging for him to come home, and I blame myself for the breakup. I've come to acceptance now, but not sure I'll ever accept the homewrecker who stole my life. P.S. Looking back, I see signs now and red flags. Always out working, always on his phone. Developed a new friendship with a lad who he has been going on endless walks in lockdown with. Probably with, now looking back, it was her. Extremely sensitive, gaslighting me like no other. No eye contact. Literally didn't say my name for the last year when he left. Shady with his whereabouts. When my daughter was born, he didn't want to be seen out with me. Wore a cap and lagged behind me. I really relate to that. Still with this said, he has no remorse, no apology, and continues to pretend he's done nothing wrong. Good luck with your podcast. I have a lot to say about this. I want to go back to you saying that you feel like you are really unable to kind of accept the homewrecker who stole your life. She hasn't stolen your life. She's actually saved you, because being with someone that can do this to you, feel sorry for her rather than being envious, because
if they think they're special enough that I'm sorry, my personal opinion on stuff like this.
Yeah.
If they've done that to someone they were with, someone they're having a baby with, someone who they've got children with, I don't believe there's anyone that is special enough for them
to change.
No.
Yeah.
And I also think, coming in as the other woman, how would you ever trust that person again? Like, I'm sorry. If I met someone and the way I met them was with
them being a cheater,
I would never trust them.
It shows how low worth that person has for themselves, that's as good as they're going to get, in the nicest possible way. If you're listening to this and you've been the other woman.
And as well, if you're the other woman and, you know, I'm not entirely sure whether she knew he was with someone or not. I think it's one thing. I think that a lot of men are compulsive liars. I'm not just saying men, I'm sure some are not too. I don't want to be sexist, but a lot of people who are unfaithful are compulsive liars. And, you know, they might have told said person they're not in a relationship anymore, or whatever. But then there are situations where women fully know the other person is married. And I just think I'm personally could never be that person. I don't agree with it. I understand it might have been initiated by the man or the other person, but I think that makes that person equally as wrong. And I agree with what you've said. It's absolutely not your loss. It's
also, it's interesting that she said, like, looking back, I do see the signs now. And it's not until we're out of those situations where you start seeing, like, actually, he did this and he did this. And it is sad, but I think that's just naturally what happens. Like, especially when you're pregnant or you're going through something and it's lockdown, and like, it's hard to... They can be hard to miss. Like, at times I did genuinely miss the red flags and only saw them once my head was clearer. I think really, like, your situation is so sad. There's nothing that we can do to make you feel better of what's happened in the past. All I can say is, remember those red flags. Remember that that's the person that you were with, and you deserve to be with someone that doesn't gaslight you and be shady and make you feel like he doesn't want to be seen with you.
You don't want to be an option to someone. You don't want someone... I would never want to be with someone who could be tempted by another person. And if they could be, they are absolutely not good enough for you. That is it. Categorically, not good enough. If I'm going to be with someone going forwards, I am everything. They want all of me. They want 100% of me. You know, they're not all like, I really like her, but I'm going out tonight. Like, this girl's... Nah. Like, have more respect for yourself. Like, you are a queen. Don't let anyone make you feel like otherwise. And this other woman who's involved, honestly, I think you have to reach the point where it's just not your problem. It's not her. It could be anyone. Someone has stroked his ego, fed his ego, given him something perhaps he wasn't getting. And if he's that easy to
sway,
to sway, then he's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I really hope that you find that strength.
Yeah.
And
you will find strength.
Yeah, realise that you are, as hard as it is to be a single mum, it is better raising a child on your own than accepting someone that doesn't know your worth and doesn't treat you well.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Got this. So this week's Stay and Leave, we're going to literally talk about 3 situations, and me and Tash are going to give our opinions, stay or leave. Okay. Go. Okay. Sexting someone else whilst in a relationship. It's been a topic of conversation with a lot of friends.
But that's an emotional effect.
I would leave.
Would you?
I think it depends how long it's been going on for as well, and the context of it and how it's escalated. I think as well, things like that where you're making a conscious effort every day to do something you know is wrong. That is,
well, they do say like emotional affair is just the start of a physical one, isn't it?
That's what it stems from.
Yeah.
I would leave, personally.
I'm unsure.
Interesting. Okay.
I probably would have to leave.
Oh, she's changing her mind now, is she?
Well, I've got my self-worth cap on, right?
Damn right you do.
Yeah.
When your husband works with the woman he had an affair with and won't leave his job,
No, leave.
He needs to make...
there needs to be a decision, like a discussion, like if you are not willing to leave, then we're done.
If he doesn't understand why that's a big deal.
Did you say that he had an affair with her?
He had an affair with a woman at work and he won't leave his job. I would categorically. If you wanted...
That would be like a rule.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Leave. I don't love them. We're more like friends, but we've got a 6-year-old.
Leave.
I would leave. Happiness. Girl, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be in love.
You both deserve to be in love. And do you know what? If it is just based on the fact that you don't love each other, that can be a really, really nice co-parenting relationship. And you could both be destined for more happiness. So I would leave.
Okay, so we're going to introduce a new segment, which is affirmation of the week. And what we want you to do is say it to yourself. Say it to yourself in the mirror. Say it out loud. Dance around. Say it to yourself multiple times a day, because the whole point of these affirmations is that you end up believing them and feeling them.
Yeah, so what's our affirmation of the week? Let's end this episode on a high. What are you thinking?
I am enough. I am enough. I am enough for anyone. I am enough. I deserve the best.
Yeah. So I'm enough and I deserve the best.
Yeah.
Amen. Love that.
Anyway, we hope you loved this week's episode. Please, please, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube.
Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Apple or Spotify, however you're listening to it, and just share it with your friends. Share it to those that you think would enjoy listening. And yeah, just thank you all for the support and we hope you enjoyed it.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.